What's up, people? Perfection back again with another video. This is going to be my last one for a while, because I think I keep saying the word conquered. I think I've tackled most subjects. Like I said from the beginning, it was a philosophy channel. I am well aware that if I'd have stuck to certain genres or certain topics, that my viewers would have gone up. If I stuck to a certain thing, like with the MGTOW, if I'd have stuck to MGTOW day 1, day 2, day 3, it would have gone up. If I'd have stuck to NoFap, it would have gone up. But that wasn't the purpose of my channel. It was a philosophy channel, and to do subjects on different things, so that if someone came on here, at least one of my topics would solve whatever problem. Really, that's how that's how the philosophy for me should have worked. Whatever issue that they had, at least one of my topics would have slightly touched upon it and given them some sort of confidence or whatever. Right, so this subject, so going back probably about 2 months ago, I was on one person's page and they were going through the NoFap and they struggled, or shall I say they came closer to succeeding, like they have done many of times. They came closer to succeeding, and someone went on their page and said, right, you should just give it up, this or that. There was a few negative comments on there, but then one comment went against something that I've said on my page, and that was one of the comments on the person's page turned around and he said to the guy, it looks like you need counselling and all of that, and it was said in a very kind of jokey way, as if to say, oh, maybe you need counselling, maybe it came across to me as like saying, maybe you're just a loser. That's how it kind of came across to me. And I've known a few people that have kind of associated counselling with kind of, oh, maybe you're a loser and this and that. And in my videos, I've kind of been a strong advocate for it. I've said to myself that I've had counselling. I said that I've trained myself to be a counsellor. Okay, so when I heard people talking like that, it was like, right, we need to get onto this video. I wanted to do it for a while, and you know, today is going to be that day. So this video here is called the Hardman and counselling. You know, there was this game I used to play called Dawn of War, and there used to be these orcs, and orcs is quite a good race on Dawn of War, and they talk. It was a brilliant game. It was one of the best games I played. But the orcs, they had one saying. They would go, "Come on then, if you think you're enough," and that was the orcs. So what the first thing I'm going to do before we get into it is we're going to try to kind of clarify, especially as we're living in a day and an age now where people on the internet everyone's trying to be the alpha male, and they're talking about what is a man, what is this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you my experiences from what I believe a man is, you know, and then we'll get into, once we understand what I believe what a man is, then we can get into the whole counselling thing. Okay, this video might be 1 or 2 videos, but we'll see how it goes. So the first thing I want to say is, in my eyes, there's 3 kinds of people really. There's your hard man, there's your being a man, and then there's someone that's playing the hard man. Now, the first one, which is the hard man. A hard man to me, basically, in a nutshell, really. And there was a guy that was on, we used to have this talk show called Trisha, and the guy on there kind of strengthened, confirmed what I was thinking anyway. A hard man really, basically, in a nutshell, is someone that just doesn't care whether they live or they die. That to me is the definition of a hard man. Someone that doesn't care whether they live or whether they die. They don't care about the consequences of their actions. Therefore, you could say that almost in a sense like a psychopath, really. More kind of like a psychopath, really. They don't really care of their actions. And sometimes you can see it in their eyes, sometimes you can see it in their demeanor. And a lot of the times people are quite scared of them, because when they make threats, or when they say things or they confront people, they truly mean what they are saying, and and it doesn't necessarily has to be a man. Sometimes it can be a hard woman, it can be the same thing, but when they say things, they genuinely mean it. They don't mind as well. They don't mind, for example, going to jail. They don't mind going to, I'll tell you a perfect example. And in a sense, although I wouldn't class that one, that would be my next one, which would be being a man, I suppose. But it's kind of in between both worlds. There was one kid, I was watching this program basically where some kid said he was on his bike. It was a push bike. He was only about 18, 19, white Caucasian guy in America, and basically some guy pushed him off his bike and stole his bike. He said that he somehow managed to go and get a gun, went after the guy. In the heat of the moment, he was angry. He must have blasted the guy, shot the guy, took his bike back. And then they interviewed him in jail and asked him the story. And when I'm listening to it, I'm thinking to myself, this is crazy. This guy's doing a life sentence in jail over a bicycle. You know. Now, in a sense, he's a kind of a combination between a man and a hard man. But just to clarify the whole Hardman thing, yeah, so a Hardman really is just basically someone that doesn't care about the consequences of their actions. Therefore, they do anything. They'll carry a blade, they'll carry a knife. They don't mind stabbing you in the back. They don't mind 10 men although that wouldn't really be, would that be a Hardman, 10 men on one guy? No, I would say no. I wouldn't class that as a hard man. Hard man is someone that doesn't care whether they live or whether they die. So it'd be the opposite. It wouldn't be 10 men on one guy. The one guy would most likely be the hard man trying to fight the 10 guys. He just doesn't care. Some of them have a higher threshold to pain, higher tolerance to pain as well, so they can take a lot more. But this is a good job. I didn't forget this actually. What's very important is what was mentioned in the Trisha show, and this and what I'm about to say now is that what's really important is that all of us have the potential, really, at any stage, no matter whether you're 4 foot tall or 10 foot tall or 20 foot tall, female, male, boy, child, whatever. All of us have that potential to be a hard man, because a hard man, really, all of us at one stage may be in a position where we're threatened, or where we feel as though what word would I use to describe it? All of us at one stage may feel where we are threatened, or where we feel we're about to lose it. For example, if I hear that let's pretend I heard that my sister was in trouble, and I'm someone that doesn't really, I'm not a fan of violence. I try to stay away from violence. But I hear that my sister is in trouble, then I may go down to my sister's house to try to help her, to try to fight off this perpetrator or whatever, to try to save her or whatever. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. So in a sense, in that moment, I've become a hard man. Whether I'm looking at someone that's 10 foot tall, or whether he's 2 foot tall, this is my sister. So innateness, human instinct should kick in, and I should automatically become that hard man, that person that doesn't care whether he lives or dies or experiences pain. So we all have the potential of being a hard man. It's not just to certain individuals, we all have that potential. Some of us naturally walk around with this kind of hard man attitude But again, this goes back to, I did a video on final notes for 2018, and I tried to describe that when you've had kind of a brutal childhood, maybe a victim of neglect, or maybe you've had you know, maybe you've had kind of sexual experiences as a child, you know what I'm talking about, you've experienced those kind of things, then you may grow up kind of reckless and you no longer care whether you live or you die. So some people have that kind of Hardman mentality. Okay, now that we've understood what the Hardman is, we can move on to the next subject of being a man, which is totally different than a Hardman, because people seem to think that the two are the same. They're not. Being a being a hard man is someone who doesn't care whether he lives or dies. Being a man is something totally different. Being a man is basically standing up for yourself, and most importantly your family. Again, it should be a natural human instinct that kicks in when your family is being attacked, when someone's trying to go after your partner, your girlfriend, if you're a girl, your boyfriend or whatever, when someone's trying to attack your partner or your family member or whatever, being a man is something that naturally kicks in. You shouldn't have a fear of whether you're going to get hurt or this or that. It should be a natural instinct for you to get up and protect them. It's what we, you know, it's kind of, if in enslavement days, if you had your cave and you had your food in your cave, and another man came into that cave and just put his hand on your food and tried to walk out with it, it should be a natural instinct for you to try to do whatever it takes to make sure that your family is safe and that they still have their food and provisions and whatever. So being a man is basically sticking up for yourself and protecting your family, whereas being a hard man is something different. That's kind of it's a constant state for some people of not caring, basically, whereas being a man is, you're walking around, you do care. A lot of the situations you may find yourself backing down from. Okay, the reason why you may find yourself backing down from these situations is because hard men, a lot of them, will most likely have ended up in jail. That's the reality of it. If you're constantly walking around being a hard man and you don't care whether you live or you die or this or that, and at the split of a second you're willing to stab someone, or the split of a second you're willing to brutalize someone, and your life just end up going to jail instantly, you know, that's different from being a man. Being a man is someone that may walk around, and a lot of the times you may find yourself just walking away. If you can walk away from a situation gracefully, then you walk away from it. But if someone's put in a situation where they're threatening your family or your life's being threatened, then being a man means standing up to the challenge and doing what needs to be done regardless of the outcome. Because a lot of people seem to think as well, which annoys me greatly, is that being a man means you always win. You don't always win. Being a man has nothing to do with always winning a fight. Okay, being a man doesn't have anything to do with always winning a fight. Being a man simply means that you have to stick up for yourself regardless of whether you win or lose. That's being a man. Even a hard man, with all the pain tolerance and, you know, all of those kind of things, may not always win. Okay, they may not always win. Which then, so now that we understand what being a hard man is, and we understand what being a man is, then right, so in the next video I'm going to move on to playing the hard man, and then once we understand all three of them, we can then tie into how it all relates to this whole counseling thing, or why I suggest sometimes counseling may be beneficial to certain men and even women out there. But thank you for watching, guys. Stay with me for my next one, and I'll see you soon. Alright, peace.